Hello, everybody. I'm Sequoia, and these are Hard Conversations with Sequoia. Today, we're going to be talking with a fantastic author. Her name is Robin Winn. She is the best-selling author of Understanding Your Clients Through Human Design. I want to share about human design with all of you because it has really been supporting me and my work that I do, but also just my personal life. So I've invited Robin Winn to have a conversation with us. She's writing her second book. It's about to be launched in January. And this woman has a lot to share with us. And I love the way she organizes this information so that we can understand it and put it to good use. Again, her first book is called Understanding Your Clients Through Human Design. And I'm going to just open the conversation right up so that she can share a little bit about herself. Hi, Robin. How are you?
Hey, Sequoia. I'm so happy to be with you.
Yay, I'm happy to have you. And you're in the beautiful island of Hawaii. Which island are you on?
I'm on Maui.
Oh, you're on Maui. Oh, I love Maui. Fantastic. Well, tell us a little bit about the books that you're writing and a little bit about like what you do and human design. Kind of fill people in if they've never heard of human design before.
Sure. Well, I was a therapist for 25 years when I discovered human design, and it changed how I worked with people, dramatically changed because it shifted the blame off of a parental, oftentimes we can look at our parents, we can look at our childhood and say, I'm a victim of that. And human design really made me see that some of the situations would have happened in any case because that's our design, that's the vulnerability we're working with. And that's our job to work with that. So that there wasn't something wrong. It was just that was the job. That was the work we were working.
Oh, I love
So
that.
basically, human design, yeah, I know. Basically, human design, it takes your birth time, date, and place. Uses that astrology piece. And I don't know if you're familiar with the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching, but
Yes.
instead of using the houses and the signs in astrology, we use the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching. Now, without getting too complex or too in depth right here, because we want to really focus on what it means for you or for people who are listening. Um, what it does is it gives us a map and a picture of who we are, how we operate, how we best operate. In human design, there's the understanding that we're all a piece of a giant puzzle and that we're perfectly designed. When
Mm.
you know your puzzle piece,
Oh,
then you can live it. But if you're trying to live somebody else's puzzle piece,
mm.
you suffer and humanity suffers.
Oh my gosh, that's
So
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 brilliant.
if you're in a relation, yeah, yeah. So if you're in a relationship, right, and you think somebody should be like you, that there's going to be problems there. If you see the difference, if you see, oh, you're a projector, you have a whole different energy system than I do, then there's an element of respect that starts to come in and a curiosity gets awakened.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna
For me,
pause
it's
you
really
right
so much
there.
about compassion.
I
Okay.
love this. I love this. I'm going to pause you right there because let me tell all of you out there who are watching this video, this is exactly how I use human design. But before I found human design, this is what I was teaching people how to look for in their relationships. And that is how to put yourself into the other person's shoes or in their worldview, right? And so before we got onto this call, I was telling you that I'm a manifesting generator, which we'll explain all that in a minute. But I'm a manifesting generator, but I have an only child. She's a projector. And she's been telling me for about a year and a half now, Mom, you just have to leave me be. You pushing like a manifesting generator would probably do, like, come on, we got to get to, it doesn't do anything for her. It actually makes her resist more and want to go the opposite direction because she doesn't want anything put on her. She wants to be the person who creates it, right? So I oftentimes find that when I work with people in relationships, they're like frustrated with the person being the person. And I'm coaching them. You have to be okay with them exactly the way they are and exactly the way they aren't. And you can't like be upset at them for exactly the way they are and exactly the way they aren't, because they can't be any other way. If they were wanting to be some other way and like could be some other way, they would. And that's what I call unconditional accepting. And to have unconditional accepting, it's really beneficial to have tools like human design. So lead us through this. And what is this thing called human design?
So before I jump right to that, let me just complete what you were saying. Like, there's 5 basic puzzle pieces. And 2 of those puzzle pieces, the manifesting generator, which you are, and the generator, which I am, take up 70% of the population. And I'm going to use an analogy here some people have a harder time with, but it really works for me, which is the generators and manifesting generators, we're like working dogs. We've got energy, we've got vitality, we're ready to go. If we're not going, we're like chewing up on ourselves, right? We need to be focused and doing, right? We're the doers.
Yes.
Now those projectors, like your daughter and my wife, I've got some light coming here. The projectors are more like cats. They have a different job, a different task. They're not here to work in the same way we're here to work. They're here. If you think of a cat walking into a room, they're going to find the cozy place to sit.
Yes.
They need to feel good. They bring their gifts when they feel good, not by what they're doing.
Yes.
It's by their being. Their beingness is their superpower. Right? So I'm sorry about the light. I'm not sure what's happening there. I used to think my wife was lazy because she didn't wake up in the morning ready to go and, take off all day long. She needed more rest. She had a different rhythm. She had a whole different idea about work than I did. But that is part of human design. That is exactly her puzzle piece.
Wow. That is so good to hear for everyone, right? That oftentimes, we fall in love with someone, or we're, like my daughter, she was kind of born into this crazy life with her mother. And, we're all trying to do the best we can with what we have. And this tool sounds like it's the perfect thing to understand the puzzle pieces that are relationships that make up your life.
Yeah. So let me pull up your chart. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Would this be a good time?
Yeah.
To do that?
Share
Let me pull
share
up
it,
your
baby.
I think in real life we can see, we get more.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me trying to get it. Well, oh, here we go. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. So here is your chart. Here's your chart. Can you see that okay?
Yep. I can see it perfectly. Yes.
Okay.
So now
So
I only have
this is what a human design chart looks like.
Two open centers, right? Oh, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Go ahead.
That's
go.
Correct. So just briefly, so you know what you're looking at the time of your birth, your planets are in these 64 hexagrams, some combination. And 33 months prior to your birth, 88 degrees, your planets were in these hexagrams. Now we put those together and this becomes your puzzle piece. So wherever you're colored in your chart, defined, we call that, whether it's a center, a channel, or what we call a gate, You're broadcasting those energies 24/7. That's who you are, breathing out into the world. Wherever you're open, whether it's a center, a channel, or a gate, you're breathing in the world. You're taking in the world. So what I want to focus on, so that's one thing. When you look at two people in relationship, you're going to see, well, where's someone defined and where are they open? And how are you impacting each other, right? So when your chart and my chart come together, just for example, I have this 63, what's left is our will center open. So our frontier together is to look at what we value. When we're together, that's what we're investigating and discovering and interested in. What do we value? Right?
Yeah.
So, but why I want to show your chart in particular is I want to talk about you as a coach.
Cool.
And what makes you particularly right to do the work you're doing.
Cool. I love it.
Is that okay?
Yes. Because
so you can
really,
all
this
know
is really
when you
what your first book is all about, right? Is like, you know, how to help your clients with.
My first book is about the type.
Yeah. And your second book is going to be on
my first book is about the 5 puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
On the centers, on all these centers. But what I want to say for you is your sun is in this 43rd hexagram. That is the gate, the hexagram of insight. You look at something and see it in a brand new way. When you look at a relationship, you're seeing it in a way it's never been looked at before. You're shining new light. And when you see it, and then you articulate it, this is a 23, you articulate it, then it's like you turn on the light for everybody. You change the world by seeking what you see. So you're offering a whole new way to look at the world in relationship.
Wow, that actually is really shocking to hear, evaluating my chart, because I think even when Angela was interviewing me for my most recent book launch, I'm Not Jealous, she's like, boy, you really pick topics that are like really daring to talk about. And I was like, I know, I feel like the universe just threw me into this world so that I would do all those conversations. And this is Hard Conversations with Sequoia, which is all about, let's bring light to conversations that most people aren't willing to have. So I love that this is straight out of my chart. That's crazy.
And here's the thing, your unconscious, this is the unconscious, this is a conscious, your unconscious sun, you're looking to come up with answers around relationship.
That's awesome. Really? That's awesome.
Yeah. Now here's what you have to know as a coach, as someone who's helping people. This channel is called the Freak Genius Channel. Because it's individual.
There's a Freak Genius channel and I have it.
Yes, you have it. You're mutative. You're bringing something new to the planet. But the thing is, you have to do it in the right timing. If you speak it to people who aren't ready to hear it, if you're talking about, relationships that are out of the box to people who aren't ready to hear it, you're freak. People can't, you're ahead of the times. People can't hear what you're having to say. If you speak it in right timing to the right people, you're genius.
So how do you apply that? Because, you've heard me share about my experience in this area many times, and it used to, I literally have been such a sensitive human being my whole life. And I used to cry at the drop of a hat when I would look into someone's eyes and about to talk to them, and I would all of a sudden start crying. And what I've learned about myself is that that is one of the ways that downloads of information come through me, is through my tear ducts and the water coming out of my face. So I warn my clients, just so you know, if I start tearing up, that I'm okay. There's nothing wrong with me. That's just me processing the information that's coming to me. And but it has made me feel like a freak because I feel so emotional, but it's literally like the stuff I almost can't stop talking. Um, and I haven't known who was the right person to say what to. So how do I apply what you just said? Like the right time. How do I know it's the right time?
Okay, great question. Now let me, we're really having, the sun is doing all kinds of, the Maui sun is with us today. Let me back up for a second,
Sure.
and I'm going to get to that, but your moon is in gate 19. I have this gate too. This is the gate of sensitivity. The moon is what drives you. You're driven by your sensitivity. You're driven to help other people with their sensitivity. That's what you do. You're all about, in every situation, every conversation, sensitivity is front and center. You're also, the conscious moon is, you're supporting people in their creative contribution. You're here to support people. You're driven to support people in their sensitivity.
That is so interesting. Have you ever seen people with that specific configuration get a little sad and upset when nobody wants them to help? I get heartbroken.
Okay, so
when
let's
I offer
talk
support.
about that. Let's talk about that, because over here, and we're going to get back to your other question in a second, your Jupiter, what you're blessing, the place you bring blessings, is in this place of bringing value to the tribe, of teaching, of sharing what you know. And over here, it's in the first hexagram, which is making a creative contribution, yourself, your self-expression, which is also in Venus. You love that part of you that wants to make a creative contribution, that wants to support people. You love that, right? But now we come back to, how do you know when and who to make a creative contribution to? Everybody does not want what you have. You have an individual voice.
Right.
It's very particular. You're ahead of the tribe. You're trying to bring something to the tribe that is ahead of its time.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
And I'll just throw this in here. You've got the same configuration Angela does, the 3-5. You get projected on. You're here to save the world. You have a big job. You know that. But the way you do it is by trial and error.
Yes.
You have to try something to see if it works or not. You can't figure it out ahead of time.
Yes.
Right? You have to bump into life. Does it work? Oh, that didn't work. Let me back off, right? Meanwhile, people are expecting you to save them. Sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't.
Right.
And you're either elevated or trashed, depending on what you do.
And they call that the martyr,
right?
Is that the martyr?
That's the martyr, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's called the martyr heretic.
Martyr heretic.
So the names are, yeah. But you put yourself on the line. You try things in order to save humanity.
Yeah.
You're bringing something new. You're trying to support people in that new thing.
How?
Has to do with the body, has to do with surviving, how to be spontaneous and present and awake to body sensations, and what's happening, like an animal, almost awake, kind of in that way.
Yeah. Wow.
But the big thing for you is your mindset. Mm-hmm. You like to talk about mindset. Mm-hmm. Right? To get those right brain downloads that you're talking about, you have to be in the right mindset.
Okay.
right? You're teaching people about their mindset in relationship. They have to understand who they're with. They can't project on that person. They have to understand that person is not the source of their supply.
Wow, it's fascinating that you're seeing all of that in this amazing chart. So, with this kind of detailed information, fill us in a little bit on, how someone like myself, a coach, can utilize this for the clients that they're working with.
Right. So for instance, with you're presenting with, I've got all this I want to share. When is the right time to share it? How do I share it? Right. So the first thing I can do for you, knowing your chart, is I reflect back to you. Yeah, that's hard. The right timing really matters to you. You're busy, you're active, you want to give, and this is where you have to be skillful. This is where I say to you, don't hold back on your uniqueness. Go all the way for it. That's what you're here to do, right? And then let's look at, how do you do that? How do you know when to speak or when not to speak? How do you know the right timing? And for that, we look at your type, your manifesting generator. So we're going to look at that yes-no mechanism you have. You can't, your head is totally open. You can't go to your head and say, oh, I think I should do that, and then do it. No, that's not going to work. You have to have something come into the field that you respond to. Oh, I have a yes for that, right? You have to be following your yeses and nos.
So is that going to be a body sensation instead of a thought process? Because
it's definitely a body sensation. It's a motor. This is a motor. This is the go motor. Like, this is the engage, let's get going motor. Do I have a yes for that? Do you have a yes for doing this podcast? Do you, what do you have a yes for?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to be listening. Now, the other thing is, you can't make decisions in the moment. You're not designed to. Some people are, you're not.
Okay.
You're deeply emotional. Oh my gosh, you're so emotional, right? This is deeply emotional. You have to kind of wait out your emotional wave over time to make sure you still have a yes. You might have a yes in one moment, and then more information comes in. You're like, well, actually, no, that's not right. Someone asks you to go to a party, you say, yeah. And then you're like, why did I say yes? I don't want to go. It's very hard for you with this channel here, once you've said yes, not to follow through.
I was just going to say, I'm like,
you have to be
that's really hard for me. That's not easy. I don't know that I can say yes.
No, exactly. That's why it's better for you to say, let me think about it. Tell you what, that sounds great. Let me think about it and get back to you. That is a better strategy for you. Wow. When you're talking to your team, when you're trying to figure out what your next direction is, you need to take your time. So as a coach, this is how I would work with you. I would say, let's look, okay, you're here to talk about mindset. You're here to talk about what action. You're all about action. Your chart is an action chart. You've got the most powerful gate in the whole chart, in your Mercury, I saw it somewhere else here, your spiritual path. It's part of your spiritual path, taking action.
Wow, I've got it.
And then you've got the 3 here, trying to go.
So why is that the most powerful, the 34.1? Why is that the most powerful about action? What's going on with that?
Well, the 34 is called the gate of power.
Okay.
And it's the busiest gate in the whole chart. It's coming off the sacral. It's energy pumping out, saying, let's go, let's go, let's go. But you're going to dissipate your energy if you're just doing things.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make sure you have a yes for what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to burn out.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And we
did
can't
I tell you?
afford that.
I
We
don't
can't
know how
afford.
much of my story you actually know. Did I tell you that at the age of 26, I got Lyme disease and totally collapsed? Because all of my
Yeah.
friends would say that, Sequoia, she's always got something. I had like 5 jobs. I was in the entertainment industry. So if I wasn't performing, I was directing, and I was, going on fashion modeling auditions and like all of this stuff. And at 26, like I had a surgery on my knee and I never recovered from that, like for like years. Like it took me about almost 10 to 12 years to come back into full energy flow again. But I was exhausted. And the message I got from the illness, see, the way I looked at it was the illness taught me, I was burning the candle at, instead of both ends, I had a bowl of wax and I had 1,000 wicks coming out of that candle bowl. And I burned all of them, basically, is how I described it. And that's how all of the people in my life are like, she'll come back, but I'm the kind of person that always has some project. And if you want to get on my calendar, you have to get on my calendar pretty early because I'm always doing something. So that's so fascinating that you actually just saw that in the chart.
Absolutely. And let me just add this piece. When you do something you have a no for, your body takes the hit in this chart. I have the same thing, this channel. So you cannot afford to say yes to things that you have a no for. It's serious. You don't have bandwidth with that. And here you are, all this busyness, and you're trying things, and you want to save the world, and your spiritual path is to be busy. I mean, right?
I can completely see, which is why I'm talking to you today, Robin, because I'm talking to you because I have seen in working with my clients and the little that I have been able to absorb from your book about human design, and working with you and talking with you, the stuff that I've learned about human design has helped me communicate to people. Now I actually go throughout my life and I go, I wonder what your human design is. And I'm like, I keep like trying to figure out, I wonder if they're a manifesting generator or a projector or so it's very funny. It's actually a fun little party
Right?
game.
Because it makes a difference in how you treat them and how you are with them. It matters. It's like if someone came from Japan, you would treat them differently than someone who came from San Francisco.
Yeah.
Right? You would just be you'd be curious, or someone who came from Africa, you'd be curious about their culture. It's like those puzzle pieces are cultures.
Yeah, I oftentimes tell
They're
people when
very
I'm
important.
in a conversation with them that where I'm trying to tell the husband how to decode what the wife was just doing or saying, or the upset, right? And vice versa, the wife to, or wives and wives, or or husbands and husbands. I am oftentimes decoding for each of them what the other one is saying and doing. So what I love about this is that this gives all of us a tool that's pretty comprehensive. And I've seen it be so accurate. Like I have a really good friend and he's a generator. Every single center is filled in. Every one. I've never seen one of those before where every center is filled in. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, wow, that's a powerhouse person, because nobody is inserting anything on him, right? Because they're all, which is, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, yeah, so it's interesting, right? The more open we are, the more fluid we are. Like your two centers are totally open. Your head is completely open. You look at any possibility, right? You're taking in all the ideas of the world and sorting through them, right? You may not be consistent in your thinking, right? May be all over the place because you're taking in and amplifying everybody else's ideas and thoughts, right? Um, but it doesn't mean you're less powerful. I really want to be clear on this. This is the book I've just written, is about the centers, and where you're open. I call them our God portals. There are pain points in human design because they're where we get conditioned, but they're also where once we learn to stabilize on the openness, it's like there's nothing between us and the entire world in those centers.
Hmm.
Like you can just take in your client's thoughts. You can take in the husband's thoughts. You can take in the wife's thought. You can take it all in without any filters in a stable, neutral way.
Wow,
It's
really?
brilliant,
That's
right?
what that's doing. Okay, I'm so much even more in love with you now that we're having this conversation, because you're actually saying things that I tell my partners, like, okay, please understand, like I'm downloading information all the time. And I'm explaining that to them, and they're kind of like, okay, whatever. But you just said exactly what I experience all the time, which is I can be like, neutral, Switzerland, in any kind of situation. I'm a really good mediator because of that.
Yeah. So it's a gift. It's a huge gift if you can stabilize your mind. If you're not stable, you're tossed around and there's a lot of pain. There can be a lot of pain in the openness.
Hmm. Wow, that's
The
very,
ego doesn't like the openness,
yeah. Well, it can
right? The
feel
ego wants something to hold on to.
can feel very
Yeah.
disconcerting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, tell us a little bit more about what kinds of people you work with. You've given us a really great example of, what it looks like to take someone's chart and to explain what it is that their human design could teach them about themselves. And your first book is how to help your clients with human design. Sorry, my screen is filled with all of this and I'm not remembering off the top of your head. So tell me a little
Yeah.
bit
You
about
want me
that.
let me take this off. Yeah.
So let's talk
So
a
yeah,
little
my
bit
first book
about
is
what
really
you're
for
doing.
coach.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I thanks. Thank you, Sequoia. I'm training coaches and therapists to use human design with their clients because it's like one of the analogies I use is when the MRI machines became available. My dad was a surgeon, a cardiovascular surgeon. He would come home from dinner and talk about these new machines and how great they were and how much they helped him in his surgery. Human design is like that. It's like a picture of what's going on with the person and how to work with them. It's the new technology, and I really believe everybody needs to have it and know it. So I'm training people to be able to use it with their work, in their business, with their clients, and have the ease of being with an ease of understanding difference through human design.
I love it. I'm so in love with your work. I'm so grateful that you have shared the brilliance of human design through your ability to organize so simplistically. I was reading your book and it made so much sense to me. So thank you for doing this work. Thank you for sharing it with the world by being an author. I know from my own experience that that's a major life um, it's like a rite of passage, right? So thank you for taking that on, 2 times taking it on. Give us the name of your new book that's coming out in January, right? What's the name of the new one?
Yes, it's called Understanding the Centers Through Human Design.
Fantastic.
So those centers that I was pointing out, your open head center. So we go through the 9 centers and look at them, the strengths, the grapples, how to work with them. So it's a hands-on kind of book, and should come out January 31st.
Yay, exciting. And I'm in California, you're in Hawaii, and I think that occasionally we had some lag time. So I apologize to everybody for either me talking over her or saying something and cutting her off. This has been a fantastic conversation, and I know that more people finding your book are going to give all of us what I believe is unconditional acceptance of the human beings that we're on this planet for, right? Thank you so much. How can they find you?
That compassion, that's the bottom line. Yeah, you can email me at robin@clientsandhumandesign.com. You can download my book. I think you've got the link there, Sequoia, for my book. You can download it for free if you'd like to do that. I'd love for you to get a copy. And if you need to have your human design chart run, you can shoot me an email, or there's plenty of free human design sites on the web that you could put your information in. But go ahead and find out what type you are. Just start there. Start there and read my book.
Oh, thank you so much. That is Robin Winn. She's in Hawaii, and she's the author of Understanding Your Clients Through Human Design. And you can find her her first book and also her new book that's coming out January 31st on Amazon. But if you want to get a little introduction to Robin herself, I will post all of her contact information in the comments of the video, and you can reach out to her because she is a plethora of information, as you saw in this conversation. Thank you for spending time, and I'm so excited that I get to do this video to introduce you to all the people in my life, because they have heard about you, but now they get to meet you. And again, thank you.
Thank you, Sequoia. You're so exquisite, and what you bring is like a delicate kiss to humanity. It's so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, girl, go out there and change some more lives through human design, and I'll see everybody soon. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop this video now and say goodbye to everybody.